All right, so in today's video, I'm going to show you how to automate 99% of content creation. And this is coming from somebody who runs a YouTube channel that makes 300K per month, and I only have to work about 4 hours a week to maintain it, okay? Now, do I work more than 4 hours a week? Yes, but I don't have to. That's the main thing, right? That's the whole purpose. If I want to work, I work. If I don't want to work, I don't. And that's really what you want. So I'm going to show you literally everything involved in this. And I'm going to be sharing my screen and really just taking you guys behind the scenes. So we're going to be looking at kind of like a high level strategy. So we're going to be looking at, the complete guide, kind of like a high level strategy for how to create YouTube content and then syndicate that content throughout other platforms. And then I'm also going to show you the nitty gritty details as well. So this is basically every single possible step in the content creation process. And we're going to go through this as well. So let's begin. So basically, what you want to do, step number one, is pick a mother platform, okay? Now, this is going to be the platform that all of the other platforms revolve around. Think of this as like the center of your content universe, okay? So the center of your content ecosystem, right? So, or the content solar system. So the mother platform, in my opinion, there's really two platforms that are the best for making, mother platform content, and that is YouTube or your email newsletter. And there's certain reasons for this. For one, the email newsletter, you put a lot of thought into creating that, and it's just very easy to turn that into other types of content. It's very easy to snip that up, basically make it into tweets, make it into carousel posts on Instagram, make it into posts on Facebook, like copy, make it into, you could even, read part of it off, cut it up, make it into shorts, et cetera, et cetera. And then you could just read off the video and then just post it on YouTube, right? So that's basically what Dan Coe does. His mother platform is his email newsletter. With that being said, I think YouTube is a better mother platform, okay? And the reason why is because once you've written something on email newsletter, first of all, that's a ton of work to write that out and send it out, every week or multiple times a week. That is a massive amount of work. And the second thing is it's really difficult to actually read that off because that means you have to actually read the script word for word. And what I recommend people do, especially if they're busy business owners, because I work with coaches, consultants, online service providers, agency owners, course creators, big YouTube creators, etc. Basically business owners in on the online space. You're too busy to do that, right? Generally speaking, like you're way too busy to be writing all the time on your email newsletter. And so what's way better to do is just to make these types of videos just like I'm doing right now and share things off the top of your head just based on assets that you already have or assets that are very easy to create. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm showing you a lot of the stuff that I already have created, whether it's like SOPs for my team. I'm actually going to show you an SOP. And basically the way I make this type of content is I just pretend like I'm making a Loom video for a friend, but then I just post it online, right? I pretend like I'm making a Loom video to help one of my business buddies out, but then I just post it online because I think this is the most valuable way to do things. So YouTube is the center of your content ecosystem, and every other platform revolves around YouTube. So what you want to do is you want to create YouTube videos. And then if you go down here, what you do is you have this video that you created. There are websites out there where you can just put the URL of the video into the website and it gives you a pretty accurate transcript. Now, it might need to be corrected a little bit here and there, but a pretty accurate transcript for the most part. So you do that, you get the transcript, you send that to your copywriting team. And by the way, when I say you, I don't mean you. I mean somebody who works on your team, because don't do all this stuff yourself. You want to hire people to do this. And so basically they get the transcript, they take out the best parts, right? They extract the best parts and they turn it into written form. And so they put it on the email newsletter, for instance. They highlight key features and benefits for your audience. They share your story, they give value. And the number one thing you need to attract attention in your videos, they make really good titles off of it. How I went from 6-figure debt to 7-figure income per year. No BS YouTube guide, 0 to 100K per month in 2024, et cetera, et cetera. And then you take your newsletter ideas, and the ones that do really well, you might actually expand on those and make another video. So it kind of has a feedback loop. And then you take all of that written content, you post the written content from one idea in the email newsletter, and you make that into all of these other different platforms. So you put that on all the other platforms. You take some of the best stuff on the newsletter, you put it in tweets, you make long form or story-based Facebook posts, you make IG posts or reels, or you can make IG carousels, and you post stuff on LinkedIn as well, okay? So you take it all, post it on LinkedIn, you analyze the data, and then there's a feedback loop that goes all the way back to the beginning, and then you get to quickly learn what type of content people actually want to see. So another thing you do is you take that YouTube video that you did and you repost it on 3 different platforms. You repost it on Twitter or X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Now, on LinkedIn, I believe you can only post about 15 minutes, so you might have to do part 1, part 2. But yeah, you repost the videos, and that's just really good content on the other platforms. Now, if you're making this raw, authentic content that I always talk about, especially if you're a business owner, this is what you should be making. It makes sense to repost that on other platforms. Whereas, if you're making mass market style content that's designed to entertain people, you probably don't want to post it on other platforms. And one of the main reasons why is because it just won't make sense. YouTube is unique. Whereas this raw, authentic style basically works on all platforms, right? It works on all different types of platforms. So you repost those on all the platforms, you analyze the data, you get feedback, et cetera, et cetera. The third thing you do is you have people who make shorts. You have video editors that make shorts, and they cut up the best parts of your videos and they make them into shorts. And then they post snippets in short form, dominating platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and then, you can even do stuff on like Facebook, and then you repost video snippet in other mediums, and that is something that can also get views, right? Sometimes those shorts get really good views. And to be honest with you, sometimes I've made actually original content on Instagram, for instance, and sometimes just reposting a tiny little snippet in a video you already did actually performs better than your original content, which is kind of crazy. So that is kind of a high level overview of how it's done. So 1, you choose a base platform. 2, you put a good amount of effort into that base platform, try to make really valuable content on the base platform, and then you basically syndicate it out. That's step 2 and step 3. So step 4 is you design a really well-designed system, right, with processes, actual processes that are written out. I like to do it in flowchart form, and then I link to SOPs and I link to videos that basically train people how to do things exactly the way I want it. And that is how you get people to actually make really high quality content the way that you want it made. And so I like using flowcharts. This is Miro board. So you can kind of see here, idea generation, holy trifecta, which is thumbnail, title, intro. By the way, my coaching clients have access to this. You've got script writing, you've got recording, you've got video editing, uploading and optimizing, video launch, and then analyzing results, okay? So every single step of the process is really just covered in extreme detail. And then you can actually click right there and it'll take you to videos, right? And this is something my clients have access to. And yeah, this is what you want to do. And the reason you want to do this is because you want to figure out which steps, and everyone's content creation process is going to be a little bit different, but you want to figure out which steps can be streamlined, which steps can be automated, which steps can be outsourced, aka having your employees doing it, and which steps you have to do yourself. And what you will find after you've really figured this out, and this took me years to figure out, is once you have this dialed in, the only step that you have to do is recording the original YouTube video, and the entire system just takes care of itself if you do this correctly. So you record the original YouTube video. This is all. Takes 30 minutes to do it. I'm doing one right now. You're watching it. And then the entire everything else just takes care of itself. And this is something, guys, I banged my head against the wall for like 3 years trying to figure this out. Now, I'm giving you the sauce here. So if you're making, there's two different types of content you could be making. If you're making mass market content where you're appealing to a mass market audience, think Iman Gadzhi, think Alex Hormozi, then what you want to do is you want to actually hire a team. You need to hire a team in order to do that. There's no way you can do that on your own. If you are making the raw, authentic content that I recommend almost everybody start out with, you actually don't need to hire a team. I mean, maybe you can have one person working on your team who kind of does the uploading and optimizing. Maybe they make the thumbnails, that kind of thing. But for the most part, you don't really need to hire a team. It's all pretty straightforward and easy to do. And so in that case, you basically come up with the ideas on your own, and then you just kind of make the video really quickly. Because these raw, authentic videos, you're not really putting a lot of thought into them. You're not really scripting them out. You're just honestly sharing your learnings, right? You're sharing what you've learned as a successful business owner, or if you're not an expert in something, obviously you'd share what you learned as an expert. If you're not an expert in something, you would share what you have learned basically as a learner. So like, okay, this last month I've been, I got my first client, or I tried to get my first client. I did my first cold calls, that kind of thing. That's what you would share. And once you get to this process, if you are doing mass market content, there's several positions you need to hire. You need to hire a video editor, script writer, thumbnail designer. So for me personally, I have my video editors do the thumbnail design. But sometimes you might just want to hire an independent thumbnail designer. And then this is a key position right here, creative director. That is the key position, because it allows you to take yourself out of the leadership role. And essentially, on my main channel, my B2C channel that does $300K per month, the creative director comes up with the ideas. They help with the thumbnail design. They help the script writers as well. They do the quality control on every single step, right? You can see the quality control steps. So they quality control video editing, the script writing, the thumbnails, etc. And they do a final check, and they basically assist with the video launch, which is you launch the video, you see how the thumbnail does, and if it's not doing very well, you change the thumbnail. Sometimes you change the title, that kind of thing. And then at the very end, they analyze the results. Sometimes if you want to analyze the results, you can. I mean, for me, it's kind of fun. So sometimes I'll do it. But yeah, at the very end, you analyze the results. Okay? So that is the process in how you do it if you have a full team hired out. And yeah, that is man, when I figured that out, it changed my life. Totally changed my life, because I was actually making, like, quote unquote, pretty much passive income, which almost nobody on the internet that says they're making passive income are actually making passive income. But that's about as passive as it gets. 4 hours a week, right? Now, I'm literally living the 4-hour work week lifestyle, like Tim Ferriss talked about. So, yeah, but when you first begin, guys, just make raw, authentic content, keep it simple, make sure you come up with really good video ideas. Everything else will take care of itself. And then you can just syndicate everything across all the platforms. Now, another key position you need to hire when it comes to the syndication of the content is like an operations manager or a general manager, someone to oversee the syndication of the content as well. And then there's some other positions you want to hire. Like, you probably want someone in charge of each platform so you can hold them accountable. Sometimes you might put them in charge of several different platforms. But yeah, you want to be able to hold somebody accountable. This is very important when you scale a business. And so those are a couple other positions you'd want to hire. So social media manager and operations manager. And on top of that, for the other platforms, people that choose the snippets of your video, choose parts of your script, and then turn it into copy, you want to hire copywriters for that. Now, personally, most of the people I hire are from the Philippines. I really like hiring from the Philippines. I think there's a lot of talent there. They also have great English, and they, most importantly, understand Western culture. They grow up watching American movies and Western movies, and they understand Western culture, right? So that's one of the best reasons to hire them. Plus, there's a ton of creative talent in the Philippines. For some reason, they love doing creative stuff, right? So lots of creative talent in the Philippines. That's where I like to hire from. And of course, it's much, much more affordable than the US because the cost of living is much lower in the Philippines. So step 6 would be to syndicate all of that content across all of the different platforms, just like I talked about here. Syndicate the content across all the different platforms. And then step 7 would be basically analyzing what does well, what doesn't do well. The crazy thing is here, I work with a ton of different people. I work with people who are absolutely crushing it, and different types of content do better for different types of personalities. It's really weird. Like, you kind of attract different personalities based on your personality. And so what's working for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person. So you have to test out different types of content. A couple things that I would recommend absolutely avoiding is making any type of content where you're doing entertainment. Do not make entertainment content. Make educational content. And if you want to put a little entertainment in there, that's fine, but make educational content. People do not buy from people who make entertainment content, right? Another thing that I want to say is make sure you're doing a personal brand. Show your face, right? Show your face, do a personal brand. Very important you do that. Another thing is avoid being the tutorial guy. So I could do a whole video on this, and I think I already have, actually. I've done videos talking about this. But one of the most common mistakes I see is people who are like the tutorial guy. So they basically tell people step by step exactly how to do everything. And that is not very valuable, for one, because you're basically commoditizing yourself. You're commoditizing yourself. You're a magician that's revealing his tricks. So don't be the tutorial guy. Tutorial guys, they might get a lot of views, but they don't get sales. Instead, talk about high-level strategy. Talk about, some of the things that are involved and how it's done, but never be the tutorial guy that goes, oh, click here, and then go click there next, and then, that kind of thing. That type of content does not work when it comes to sales. People don't buy that stuff, because when you do that, you're essentially, instead of selling the vacation, instead of selling the destination, you are selling the flight. And the flight sucks. And nobody likes to go through tutorials. They're very tedious to do. They suck, right? So do not sell the flight. Everyone wants to go to Thailand or Switzerland or any of these places, Italy, but nobody wants to do the 12-hour flight that it takes to get there, right? And don't try to sell the 12-hour flight. It is something they have to do, but don't make it your main thing that you talk about. That's a very common mistake that I see. Now, the types of content that typically do well, honestly, TLDR on this, it's going to be listicles and how-tos / explainers. Listicles, of course, this video is a listicle, 7 ways to automate your content. And then how-tos and explainers are basically, how I make, $1 million a month or something like that. How I grew a business to 100K per month. How I get leads from my business, that kind of thing. Okay, so these are the types of videos that you want to make, okay? These are very educational. People learn a lot from them. Share the best stuff. Share the best stuff. Don't go into crazy detail. Just share the best stuff, the 80-20, and people are going to absolutely love it. Now, one other thing I want to talk about when it comes to automations, because I know this video was about automations. The best platform for automations is going to be Airtables, okay? Airtables is an absolutely phenomenal platform. And basically, this allows you to automate things like crazy. So we use Airtables in conjunction with Zapier to automate a lot of these processes. Just to give you an example, I'll take you guys kind of like into my Slack here. This is my team Slack. So essentially what we have going on, I'll just give you kind of an example. So we've got like these Calendly bookings, right? And these get automatically zapped. When someone books a Calendly link, it gets automatically zapped into my Slack so that I can read it, right? I can actually look at it and see. And more than just that, if someone cancels, it gets zapped in there. If someone pays, it gets zapped in there, et cetera, et cetera. So all of this information gets zapped directly into my Slack. So it's super easy and super accessible. So if all of a sudden we get a bunch of Calendly bookings right after I post a video, hey, that's a hint that maybe this is the type of video that people want to see, and it causes them to actually take action. So that's kind of a big deal. Now, another thing that I like to use is Jotform. So this is a great way. Now, I am going to blur these out because this is, people's information here. But essentially, Jotform is a great way to automate kind of like the qualification process when you're having people book calls with you. I absolutely love Jotform. I was resistant to using it at first, but when I started using it, thanks to a friend who's doing like $1 million a month, he suggested I do it. And ever since I started doing it, I've absolutely loved it. So essentially, you ask the prospect questions, and there's certain questions where if they answer a certain way, maybe you can send them to a low ticket product. Maybe you just give them something for free, but they don't get to book a call with you. There's certain questions where they're kind of in the middle, where they might be able to book a call. Maybe they're good, maybe they aren't. And then you can have your appointment setters actually reach out to those people, and then you'll book a call with them if they end up being qualified. Because some people are a little confused about some of the questions, and it seems like they're in that gray area, right? So all of this again can be automated, and you definitely should automate and streamline it. And there's so many different things that can be automated using Airtables. Airtables is like Excel on steroids. It's kind of like an Excel mixed with a project management platform mixed with automation on steroids. Airtables is incredible. Don't even have time to go through Airtables, but there's so many different things you can automate in Airtables. For instance, if you employ any closers, you can basically just automatically calculate how much they make every single month on Airtables, so you don't have to add it up manually at the end of the month, because doing invoices actually sucks when you have a bunch of employees and a bunch of people you work with. So Airtables makes that all possible. And it's great. Now, if you guys want to learn how to absolutely crush it on YouTube, go ahead and book a call. There'll be a link down in the description and the pinned comment below. Again, I work with coaches, consultants, agency owners, online service providers, course creators, and creators, right? So YouTube creators, people who have a channel and they're having trouble monetizing it, okay? Those are the types of people I work with. Definitely book a call if you fall under those categories. Once in a while, I'll also work with beginners, but typically, like, you have to be like a high-level professional if I'll work with you. People who want to basically start on YouTube. So definitely book a call. Would love to talk to you and see if we're a good fit to work together.